Hello, everyone. Today we're going to discuss this so-called Black and Asian conflict. And some of you guys may get angry about what I'm about to say. So if you're thin-skinned, you may not want to hear this. But before I get started, let me say this. Violence against anybody is wrong, especially innocent people. Why are you touching people? I've never understood that. If you feel a certain way, that doesn't justify you doing something to an innocent person. Going about your business. Keep your feelings to yourself. Okay? Now, with that said, the majority of hate crimes against Asian people are done by a white person. But I've never heard a white and Asian conflict narrative. I've never heard that. Have you? Have y'all heard that? Tell me. I could be wrong. I want you to tell me that. Okay. But the media take a few isolated incidents done by a black person and blow it up, turn it into this Asian and black conflict. Control the narrative doing that. Similar to what they did in the hip hop. Remember back in the 90s? You remember that? They took issues between two men. Either these two or those two. But it was issues between two men. And they helped turn it into a East Coast, West Coast beef. The hip hop media helped that shit blow out of proportion. Just like in Southern California when two prison gangs had issues. The media helped form this narrative into a black and brown issue in Southern California. My grandma used to always tell me, find out who controls the media and you found the enemy of the black man. The only issue black people have it's not with Asian people, regular people. It's the Asian business owners in the black communities who treat black people bad. Those are the only people we have issues with. Whether it's treating a customer less than human, following them around the store, treating them bad, or helping create barriers to keep black people from prospering in certain businesses. You know the tactics you're using. So go on with all that bullshit. So stick around to the end, and I got a few questions for the Asian business community. I want you to answer these questions I have. They're similar to the questions we had for the mafia at the end of the video. So now, think about this. There are over thousands of black communities in this country. Thousands. There's probably over 100 Asian communities in this country. Now, you know how many Asian businesses exist in the black community? Thousands. From donut shops, cleaners, restaurants, convenience stores, massage parlors, nail shops, hair product shops, and so on and so on. Thousands. You know how many black businesses are in Asian-dominated communities? Not very many. None. Or a few. Now ask yourself, how did this shit happen? Was it hard work? Smarts? Hell no. No. Now, if Asian businesses was in black community, like here and there, maybe you can say that. But for the fact that the same type of Asian business is in every black community, common sense would tell you somebody planned that shit. That's common sense. You see the same thing in every community. Just like drugs been in every black community. That means if a black community in Mississippi having the same issues than a black community in California, somebody is behind that shit because them is two different type of people. Two different cultures. Somebody planned that shit. Nobody want to talk about that. Y'all tell me. So I'm going to tell you how I believe this shit happened. What I believe happened. Okay, and I'm going to use these four entities. And let me explain these four entities for you. The gang bankers. Businesses need finance to survive. Who control the finances? Banks. These gang bankers denied black loans after black loans for decades. Nobody did any research on this shit. Then you have the HPN. That's the hand-picked Negroes, the so-called black leaders. Now, they're called the HPN because nobody ever voted for them to be leaders. Who put them there? Then you have the Gobos. That's the government-owned black organization. Now, the reason they're called the Gobos is because back in the 60s, the black grassroots organizations were either destroyed or taken control by the Fuck Black Intelligence Bureau or the Con Man in America agency. Now, you know why I'm talking in code like that. It's funny. In a country that is supposed to have freedom of speech, freedom of the press, that I have to use codes so my video doesn't get demonetized, even though I'm not there yet, or taken down. That's crazy. Can't even use certain words. And fourth, the journalists. That's the media, the journalists. I call them the journalists because they spread germs, always focusing on the negative aspect of the black community. Every story is about something negative. If it's positive, it's going to be in the sports and entertainment. But other than that, it's negative. So years ago, here's what happened. I believe the black leaders failed to isolate black people's needs and problems when it comes to business and education. They allowed the power structure to con them into lumping all black people into this one category called minority. So when they were fighting for these civil rights, laws was created that would help minorities overcome racial injustices in the business community. However, this only applied to businesses that were either doing business with the government or receiving funding from the government. It didn't apply to all businesses. It didn't. So now a minority can be based on ethnicity, religious, race, sexual orientation, gender, disability, or someone that's a foreigner. In other words, a banker can give his daughter an affirmative action or a set-aside business loan. Affirmative action job. Or Arnold Schwarzenegger can get a set-aside business loan. Jim Carrey can get one. Mel Gibson can get one. Why? Because because they wasn't born in America. They're minorities. Hell, a banker can give his son a business loan to meet quotas if his son is diagnosed with a disability. A set-aside business loan, that is. No one ever focuses on these things. These are the little slick shit that happen. Now, I'm not going to tell you all the statistics about who got these loans, but I'm going to tell you like this. Black people receive less than 10% of those business loans. Those set-aside business loans. But why do people have this perception that black people are the ones who benefited from this? And you know me, and when it comes to the media, I'll focus on the media. And starting in the 1970s, all the way up into the 2000s, whenever there was a story done by a journalist spreading his germs on affirmative action, 95% of the people profiled were black. This is why the average dumb American think black people are the ones who benefited from affirmative action and set aside business loans. This is why a racist banker can deny black person after black person after black person and still meet government quotas. You don't have to give that loan to a black person. You give it to anybody. I can't tell you how many sisters I know who had good credit, a great business plan, and got denied a business loan trying to open up a nail shop, only to see another minority open up that nail shop. That's why you see other groups in the black community with businesses in the black community. These gang bankers did this shit on purpose. Then the handpicked leaders, the HPNs, didn't even focus on this stuff. You never hear them say anything about bankers. Hell, you never hear them say anything about drug dealers and gangbangers either, who helped destroy the community. I wonder why that is. Because they're getting their cut. That's why their kids go to the best school. That's why their friends have good jobs. Everybody getting the cut except the black community. The only time you see these black leaders speaking up for the black community is when there's a big story in the news. That is the only time you see them. You ever wonder why you only see the same leaders, the same lawyers, whenever there's an issue that becomes a big story? Same ones. Now, the role of the gobos, they serve many purposes. First, the power structure wanted to have a grassroots organization in the community under their control so they can implement any plan they wanted to. So if they want to put drugs and guns there, they can do it without resistance, because an organization with manpower is controlled by them. Second, to have a powerful organization in the black community to protect the interests of the banks. The banks own everything in the community. You can't see it, but they do. They'll never show you this. They wanted to protect their interests. I know this on a personal level. One time, a foreigner who owned a store and treated a guy's mother real bad, and this guy wanted to do something about it. Word got out. He had a plan to do something about it. And he was approached by a black man, by black men from this Gobo organization, who told him that store is under protection. You need to resolve your issues in another way. These are the things that happen nobody know about. Nobody care about. You feel what I'm saying, y'all? You feel me? I'm trying to stay calm. In other words, if me and you create an organization in the community and we wanted to get rid of these non-black owned businesses out in the community, one of these gobos would approach us and tell us, lay off. This is why you see some of them organizations, those grassroots organizations in the black community, that look like organized crime. And I know it's many issues that has helped destroy some black communities, but the lack of business is a big one. Not only for building wealth, man, but for the psyche. Can you imagine a little black girl seeing another black woman owning her own nail shop? Or a little black boy seeing another black man owning his own tire shop? But they all got denied business loans. But because the banks didn't want black people owning these businesses in their community, they don't even own liquor stores anymore. So my question is to the Asian black community is the same question we had for the mafia. Back in the 1960s and the 70s, the mafia helped control drugs in the black community. So the question to them was, did you do it for money and profit? Or did you do it knowing it would destroy a community? That's the question we had for them. Because we know they did it. Everybody know the mafia controlled the drugs in the black community. They tried to make it look like it was some partnership with some dumb black drug dealers. It wasn't a partnership. So the same question goes to the Asian business community. Did you not know blacks were being denied access to business loan, access to capital? Did you even care? As long as you got your business loan, were you happy? Did you know that taking money out of a community would eventually hurt it? You sat there and watched the black community go down. I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm trying to explain to you, you owning businesses in the black community was part of it. Not because you own the business. It's because it was a plan. The banks The people who control the banks, the gang bankers, did not want black people to own certain businesses in the community. And the way I look at it, it was the type of businesses that was cash oriented, right? So they might let a black person get a McDonald's or something because they can watch that money. But those cash businesses, like a hotel, you go to the inner city, black people don't even own hotels in the inner city. It's some person from the Middle East who got the business loan. And I'm not hating on them. If it wasn't a plan, that's my problem. You need to understand that. That's the problem. It's not because you own the business. It's because somebody had a plan to destroy the community. Nobody's hating on anybody else from another community. So Asian people, if there is an Asian and black conflict, it has nothing to do with you. It's the same thing we tell white people. Okay? Black people have never had an issue with white people. It was the fucking system they had a problem with. But the con men in America took control of the grassroots organizations in the community and made it into this black and white thing. It was always about the system. Go back and look. Okay? Those black organizations didn't start talking about white people until the con men in America put people in those organizations to keep people divided. So I want the Asian community to understand that. We know who our enemy is. And until next week, peace.